Yeah, it was. I was over at the truck shop or the cup shop this morning, and then now I'm over here at the truck shop. Like, check this out. My truck for Michigan is on the pull down rig.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, we're getting stuff ready. The guys are eating lunch right now, and I was like, since you said to call now, I'm like, shoot, I'll just do it now because I have to run and do some more stuff after this. Make sure I don't forget this real quick, and then I'll sit down.
How's the preparation been for this weekend? You got two races again, trucks and cup.
Yeah, everything's been good. You know, with the truck team, it's a little bit. You know, we go when we're trying to win races, and so that part of it's been a little tough for us this year because we just haven't quite had things go our way. It's just like we get caught up in other people's wrecks or just stuff like that. For the most part, that's what it's been. And then you get stuck in that draw where you're like drawing the random draw. It's like I've had to start like outside of the top 30 almost like every week. Finally, after Kansas, we had like two really good, solid finishes in a row. And I'm in that next drawing group. So I could start as high as 11th at Michigan, which would be good. So that draw takes place this afternoon, and we'll find out where we start. So I'm hoping that goes well and we get a good starting spot for once this year in the truck. So we'll see. The last four races for the truck have been pretty fast. Like we had really good speed at Kentucky, and then we started having an engine problem. We started to lose some power. But we had a really fast truck there. And then Texas, we had a great truck. And then Ty Majeski ran into the back of us in the middle of the straightaway, turned his head onto the wall for like no reason at all. We talked about it, so it's all good. But we had a top 5 truck, I think, at Texas. And then of course, Kansas, first race, we were like way too loose, man. I'm like tongue out the window, hanging on. Like I've never been that loose in a race car before. It was just basically like undrivable. And we literally tightened it up as much as we could. Like we had no more adjustments left in the truck. Like left rear was full of spring rubbers. Track bar was dropped all the way down. As much every stop we put crank and wedge to it. We had 6 pounds difference between the right front tire and the right rear tire, just trying to make the thing tight. And still just incredibly loose. We just missed it by a lot. So the second day we were a lot better. And I brushed the wall. Like to make speed, I had to run like right against the fence. And I got to second in the first stage and I brushed the wall. And then I lost a little bit of that side force from touching the fence. And then I hit it a couple more times after that and it just got worse. And so we ran out of adjustment that day too. We got too loose, but some of it was from me knocking the fence down multiple times, but it's the only place I could go fast is right against the wall. So just kind of part of it. So I'm hoping Michigan, it being my last truck race of the year, because I can't run anymore after this one. NASCAR won't let me because I'm declared for cup points. So, and they're not letting us run Daytona road course either. Like technically I should be able to run the Daytona road course, but because there's no practice and all the stuff, they don't want anybody getting like an advantage.
Yeah.
So I can only run the cup car. So that will be interesting, the road course coming up. So I don't know. We're just hoping to have a good truck, good finish this weekend and hopefully go out with a bang and win one. We got really close last year. I think our trucks have been a little bit better, at least the last 4 weeks, than we had last year. And we were still somehow able to pull off that second at Charlotte. So I'm hoping for similar results this weekend in a couple days.
You guys haven't had, at least on the truck side, you haven't had the greatest luck, and it's unfortunate. But this, last weekend there, 2 weekends ago at Kansas, you guys had great runs. And then once you were able to finish good in that first race, you were able to start 4th, I believe, because of the invert and everything. You finished 12th both races. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think definitely being able to start higher up is huge. All the cars now are just so aero sensitive, and anytime you can like start closer to the front, it's better. Because we got up to second, and I think I brushed the wall and slipped back a few spots. I think I ended up 6th in the first stage, and then kind of like the rest of the race, you're just too loose. But yeah, I mean, 2 back-to-back 12th place finishes for our truck team is really good. I mean, we only have like 3 full-time employees here. It's a very small operation. Our trucks are like 10 years old. So I mean, we're doing the best that we can. I mean, we've rebuilt them and put new bodies on them and stuff like that. And we have good newer Ilmor engines. Some of them we're buying from KBM after they're done with them, stuff like that. So we refresh them and stuff. So I mean, we're trying to do it the best we can with what we have to work with. And I think we've been able to get some pretty awesome results for as small of a team as we are. I mean, we're fast. Like, we actually have really good speed. It's just this year, just getting caught up in wrecks and just being in the wrong place at the wrong time has just like hurt us on the truck side. But it's like, finally, we got a couple of, solid finishes. It's not where we want to be. 12th isn't our goal. Last year we had like multiple top 10 finishes, and then of course that second place finish in Charlotte. So like, I think, even though we've got it and know what we're actually working with, it's just like we expect to go out there and regardless. So I think we can have a little bit of luck go our way. Hopefully Michigan will be an opportunity for us to win one in my final start here. And it's kind of interesting with the trucks. I feel like the trucks are like one of the most competitive series right now. There are like easily 20 trucks or so that could win the race or that are capable. They have a nice, bring nice stuff to the track where it makes it really difficult. The young guys are good, and a lot of them have experience, and then you got some veteran guys that you got tossed in there, and then some cup guys come in and run, and it's a challenging series right now. Definitely a lot more competitive than it was last year, and I think it may be one of the most competitive of the top 3 series right now.
Yeah, it gives teams like you On Point Motorsports, single truck team, not as much employees as everyone else has, a ability to run, top 10, top 5. I think that's really cool that you guys are able to do that, run up, Thor Sport, GMS. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that NASCAR is trying to go somewhat more in that type of direction where, like I think the engine deal with the trucks, like, yes, there's been some problems and guys blowing up and some issues, but it makes it a lot more affordable. And then with all the trucks having the same power plant, like, you have the same thing that everybody else has showing up at the track. I think that's made it a lot more competitive. It's made the trucks a lot more equal. And then, if you can have a good body on your truck, and you got some good people around you to put it, a decent handling truck on the track, then, I feel like you can be competitive in the trucks, which is, I think I see that type of trend starting to happen a little bit more across the other 2 series. So we'll see what happens, but I think it'll make good racing. I think everybody will agree, like, the truck racing has been like really exciting and really fun to watch. And so I see that progressing into the other 2 series as well.
Yeah, and switching to the cup side, you've done truck races, Xfinity races, but this year is your rookie year in cup, and obviously the circumstances are a lot different. No practice, no qualifying. How has that been, kind of your rookie season, with not able to get on track time for races?
Well, I think for me it's been tough at times, but at times it's also helped. It's just kind of one of those deals where sometimes you come off of the truck, and for our team, and when we've hit the setup and we're a lot better than some other guys, and we make up a lot of time, and that kind of helps us maybe gain an extra spot or 2 by the end of the race because of how well we started. But it's also hurt us at times where we had a much better car than the ending result because, we went a lap down too early. Like, for an example, like Martinsville this year with no practice, we started the race and we were just way too tight on throttle, and it was just a handful. I couldn't get back to the gas. I was just pushing off of the corner really bad. So in that first stage, we lost a lap, and then the rest of the race, you're just fighting to get back on the lead lap. And Martinsville's such a short track, so there's other cars going a lap down, and then you're battling with those cars to try to get the lucky dog, and we just quite weren't good enough to get up to that lucky dog position after getting caught a lap down early. So it was just, one of those days that hurt us. I think we ended up finishing 30th or something, but I mean, we passed the 95 and the 41 and the 11, and we ran the 18 car down. And like, for our little team, I mean, that's like, ridiculous. I'm not used to that on a normal weekend, being able to race with those guys, but it being a short track kind of where the cars aren't so aero dependent, they're not so, speed isn't so determined on the engine, you can kind of make up a little bit of a difference. So for me, it was fun getting to race with those guys, but I just wish I could have been on the same lap, and really think we might have been able to have a spectacular day. But that's just kind of part of it. I think some of these places, I've been to before, I've never been to them in a cup car before. So cup cars have a little bit different feeling. I'm getting a little bit more uncomfortable every time that I race it and getting more laps with the cup car. So a little bit better understanding of what's going on and kind of where I need to be. And now, like, feeling the car out at the start of the race, kind of being like, okay, like, I am this loose, so I can like tell my crew chief like how much to tighten me up or how much more rear grip or what I feel, kind of what's going on with the car, what direction to lead them in, and how much of an adjustment I need. I've just been getting better with that type of feedback as the year has gone on. So that's been big for me. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone's kind of in the same boat with not having practice or qualifying. The random draw thing kind of stinks, but doesn't really affect our team that much. We know we're going to qualify roughly about 30th. I've been starting around there every week anyways with the way the draw works out, so it really hasn't been too bad. So I think for us, it's just like we got to come off the truck good, and if we do that, then it's an advantage. If we don't, then you're just kind of fighting from behind, and you're just like trying to make it to the competition caution to make adjustments. So I've been on both sides of it.
Yeah, and how has that transition been? You talk about working in the shop and hitting the setup. How has the transition been from earlier in the year? You started with Premium Motorsports and then it switched over to Rick Ware Racing. Has that been a significant change for you?
All my guys are still exactly the same. So I mean, it's still pretty much Premium Motorsports for me. I have the same crew chief, same interior guys, same suspension guys, same tire guy. I mean, like everything's the same pit crew. Nothing's changed. I mean, my cars have been my cars all year long. My engines are my engines. It's the same. So like nothing's really affected our deal too much. It's a little bit busier now because all of the Rick Ware cars are over in the building next door to us. So they are sharing stuff like where we hang our bodies and where our chassis dyno is, they're on the chassis dyno too. So there's been some stuff that's been just a little bit more hectic around the building. But for the most part, like the 15 and the 77 are in one building completely by themselves. And we're kind of doing the same thing that we've always done.
Yeah. So, we talk going back to On Point Motorsports. You said that this weekend's your last race with them. They said they had an announcement. Is that kind of what it is? Maybe a new driver coming in?
Yeah, I think so. I think you'll probably see a couple of different guys in it as the year goes on, which is exciting. Some guys, probably guys you've seen drive it before. So I know they got some exciting stuff coming up in the next few days that they'll be announcing. I think you'll see some stuff happen once I'm done after Michigan, and my stint here with the team is kind of finished for the year. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see what they do the rest of the year in these playoff races. I wish I could take part in them. Obviously, I think I would still be racing some for them. But with the Cup car, that's kind of my main focus and my priority this year, and just getting seat time and experiencing the longer races and learning as much as I can in preparation to hopefully get in a position to contend for race wins and playoffs and championships and stuff like that in the future.
Yeah, and you talked about the Daytona Road Course, how you're not able to run that in another series because no practice. Are you going to be someone that's going to be really active on the sim, trying to get as much time as you can before that race?
I've been practicing on iRacing some. You can take a Cup car and they have like an old setup that's like, it's from like 2011 or something, I think. I'm not sure. I don't even know if I'm doing it right or not. But and you can take a Cup car around there and just kind of get the feel for it. I mean, they're adding that new chicane in off turn 4, which is going to be different, or turn 4 of the oval. So we'll see how that goes. I've looked at Ben Kennedy's posts of it, where it looks like it's really sharp. Like the first part of the chicane is okay, but then like the second part back onto the big track is like a boom back the other way. That's going to be tricky. And I know they're doing that so you really have to slow down for it, so we're not going too fast into turn 1, because that was pretty much every driver, every team, everyone's concern was like, if you don't add another chicane or something there, we're going to be going way too fast into turn 1. Like we're just not going to, we won't stop. I mean, you just can't, slow down enough. It's not like a sports car. These things are heavy and they're moving really fast, and they don't drive good. So it's just that would have been an extremely tricky corner without adding that extra chicane in. So I think that'll slow us down enough where it'll make one is still going to be a very fast corner, but just not quite as fast as it would have been. It's going to be a little bit more manageable. So it's going to be interesting. I think that race for us is going to be like a survival type style deal.
Yeah.
Just stay on the track all day, stay out of trouble, and I think we can wind up getting a really good finish. I mean, we do the same things even at the restrictor plate races. I think in the Daytona 500 this year, we stayed out of trouble all day, and then in the closing laps, I think we found ourselves in like 9th place, and we're like, oh man, like this could turn out to be a really good day for us. And then I avoided a wreck there at the very end of the 500, and I think I lost the tail end of the draft, like stopping to miss Chase Elliott from crashing. And then that was like, it was like the last lap. So, I mean, we were out of it at that point. I think we finished 16th, but I think we can expect like another really good finish like that. If we can stay out of trouble, stay on the track all day, don't have any car failures. We've been plagued by a lot of car failures this year. But if we can get through the race and run all the laps, stay out of trouble, I think we'll have a really good finish. And that's going to be the name of the game, I think, for a lot of teams that we race around all year. It's just like staying out of trouble and surviving this thing at Daytona when we get there.
Yeah, that's the goal for teams like you guys, to kind of stay out of trouble. And top 30s, are really good for you guys. Top 30s, top 25s. You mentioned the 16th place at Daytona. I remember you finished 16th at Daytona, and you were leading the Rookie of the Year standings for, I think, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You were top of the board. And, to get – how important is it to just keep the car clean and especially top 25? I mean, that's going to be really huge for teams like you.
Yeah, well, all that stuff kind of adds to our budget, right? Like we have some sponsorship money that helps us out, and then how we finish the race adds to the budget and what we're able to do as far as improving our cars, maybe getting a new body here and there, getting some new parts and pieces. So all those things matter. Like 16th in the Daytona 500 is huge. That race is the highest paying race of the year, and to get a good finish like that for our team is like massive. So. We've had some other good finishes at some other races. Like I think we finished 24th at Bristol one point this year, and we've had multiple runs inside the top 30. We've had some races where we should have ran really good and we broke, man. I think at Darlington, one of the races back, that ended up being stopped by rain, but we were like 15th and the rear gear broke. That's like ridiculous that's just like a ridiculous finish at a track like that for our team. Is huge. So, same deal. Phoenix, we had a battery issue. We probably would have ran 21st that day. So there's been a lot of instances where we had a finish get away from us, a good result. But, that's racing. It's part of it, and things happen. And on a team with a smaller budget, we are kind of mileaging our parts and getting the most out of our equipment. And sometimes things break, and that's just kind of part of it. So Kansas, a few weeks ago, it was another situation with the Cup car where we had a fuel pressure issue, and another race where I think we would have ran about 22nd or 23rd, and didn't make it. Had to go behind the wall and fix the fuel pump, and it just caused a good day. Still finished 30th, but I mean, just one of those days where it could have been so much more. So I'm hoping, New Hampshire was good for us. Finished 27th, stayed out of trouble. We had a really good car. We could hang in with some of the faster cars for about 20 laps or so. And then after that, you just start slipping back. When you start having to lift more, and our team being a little bit down on power, stuff like that, we just slowly start losing ground. And then after about 40 laps or so, we kind of lost touch with the tail end of the field there. So, but to stay out of trouble, make good adjustments, and get a 27th place finish is good for us. We're hoping we can do something similar at Michigan and have another good day inside the top 30.
Yeah. Do you feel like more like when you go to tracks like Martinsville, Bristol, New Hampshire, when they run the different package, do you feel like the driving is more in your hands than it would be at somewhere like Texas or Kansas, where it's more aero?
Yeah, I mean, definitely at the short tracks, it's more in your hands as a driver with the packages that we've been running. The lower downforce package at the short tracks has made it a little bit more exciting. I mean, at New Hampshire, it's still a little bit more of a challenge because like aero and stuff still kind of plays in. I mean, it doesn't. You wouldn't think that it does, but it does. You get tight, you get kind of stuck behind somebody that just can't quite pass them, and it's frustrating. But at places like Martinsville, and I expect Richmond and Bristol a little bit, it doesn't quite matter as much. So you can like you said, like it's a little bit more on you to perform. You can squeeze a little bit more out of the car and make something happen. And I think you see some guys run better at some of those places that you don't normally see, just because the driver just comes into play a lot more. I think at the big mile and a half, I mean with the Cup car right now, it's very similar to the truck. You're pretty much wide open like everywhere that you go. And that makes it tough to pass, right? Because you're just wide open. I think that's why the restarts and stuff on the Cup races are just it's so crazy because you just can't give up anything. Everything happens on the restart, and you kind of get in line and you're like drafting and holding position, and it's like, all right, don't make a mistake, don't lose a spot for this entire run, and then you had to do a green flag pit stop, try to not lose any time, make the most of it, no mistakes, and then get geared up for another restart again, and then try to go get another spot or two, and try to hold them off as long as you can. In my situation, I try to beat all the guys that I know that I'm racing with and get ahead of them. Sometimes on some of these restarts, I can get a few more guys and can kind of get up into a little bit better position and maybe hold them off for a little bit. And that just buys me more time before I end up, losing some time to the leaders or going another lap down. I'm just fighting to stay in that position to get the best finish, best result that I can get. So the packages have been definitely interesting. I think with the packages now, it makes it a little bit more tougher and a little bit more competitive. I know some guys complain about it, but it just keeps the field way closer together, and the mistakes are like super more magnified. So like if you like get a little bit too loose in the pack, or you get tight and you have to lift, and just like cars blow by you, like you just can't mess up, And so that makes it. I think it's made it tougher in a sense, but cars are definitely easier to drive by themselves. I'll give it that. But I know some of the other Cup guys have been, complaining about it just being, wide open everywhere, which at the mile and a half we pretty much are. But I like I said, I think it just magnifies certain mistakes. You can't lose your momentum. You lose the momentum and it's like over, especially in a situation like I'm in where we don't quite have the best engine and stuff like that. It's just like you can't lose momentum or it's over.
Yeah, and sponsorship, real quick about sponsorship, plays a big factor in rides and how well the funding is. I love your paint schemes. One of them, I think your paint scheme is awesome this year. A lot of people have, but how important are sponsors to smaller teams like you guys for funding and everything like that?
Well, it just puts us in a position going into each week knowing that we're going to be able to have, like on our car, we have tires every week, which is huge among the smaller teams in the back. Being able to have sticker tires every pit stop that we're going to make is big. And just being able to do some smaller things, whether, improve our bodies and make sure that we can, get the most out of our engines and things like that we have to work with. I wouldn't say that our budget is real large, but it's enough to get by and make sure that we can go to the racetrack every week and know that we have the full allotment of tires and know we have, we're getting the most out of our parts and equipment that we have. And so that's been good. I think this year has been maybe a little bit better for the 15. I think we've been able to get a little bit better finishes than they've been able to get over the past couple of years. We still have had some parts failures and some stuff, maybe a little bit more that have plagued us, but overall speed during the race and where we should finish, I think has been higher for us as a team. So I think that's been good. And hopefully we can just continue that trend. But yeah, sponsorship is everything nowadays. I think Joe Gibbs was on a podcast, maybe been in the Dale Jr. podcast and was just talking. It's like, if got guys like Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch and all of them don't have Mars or FedEx, it's like, what happens? It's the same for everybody, all of us. All the drivers need financial backing and sponsorship in order to make it work. And the more money you have, the more competitive you are. And that's pretty much just as simple as it is right now. I'm hopeful that all the stuff that NASCAR is doing for the future, that there'll be more teams come into the sport and be able to raise the sponsorship money necessary to be competitive, because that number will be lower. So I think all that stuff is coming and it's headed in the right direction. And I'm just excited to see what happens with our sport over the next 3-4 years with the new car coming and the new changes and how that's going to change the competitiveness of the sport, but also create new opportunities for new teams to get involved and maybe even some new manufacturers and things like that. That would be huge. So we'll just have to see what happens. But I think everything is, in my opinion, is going in the right direction. I think big teams have invested heavily in engineering and CNC machines and things like that. They spend all of this money, and all that kind of stuff will slowly start to go away. But so I just I'm hopeful for the future that it's going to be better for all of us.
Yeah, with that next gen coming, do you think, more teams or newer teams like BJ McLeod, Tommy Baldwin had been there for a while, they return this year. Do you think teams like that will start to come out and maybe buy a car to run with the next gen?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll. Yeah, I mean, possibly. I think you'll see. I think we'll see a lot of things when the new car comes, but I think it'll just make the smaller teams, the ones that are able to, you know, continue and buy the new cars because this is going to be an expensive deal to do. Once you have the new cars, I think it's just going to make the field a lot more competitive and make you a little bit more in the mix. I don't think you'll have guys be so far off because basically it's going to be kind of like a kit car. From my understanding, everyone's going to pretty much have the same thing. And then in the future, I think we'll all be running relatively similar engines, which is going to bring the field closer together too. And I think it'll, I just think it's going to make the racing better. I think it's going to give everybody in the field an opportunity to have a shot to win. I think you'll still have teams in the very back that may not have as much money, that may be, struggling some compared to some of the others. But I think for the most part, it's going to make the field more competitive. And I think it's going to start everyone off from square zero. But I do think there are going to be some teams in the beginning that have a little bit of an advantage. Penske and Ganassi and some of those teams, they've done sports car racing before. They're going to have a little bit better understanding of how the new car is going to work. And they've worked with engineers that are going to understand how that works. So maybe some guys that have a little bit of an advantage to start off with. But I think if you have a decent budget, you have the new cars, it's definitely going to bring the field closer together. And I think it's definitely going to create some new opportunities for new owners, possibly new people to get involved into the sport. At the way the sport is now, it's just very difficult for a new owner or a new team to start at the cup level because it's just so incredibly expensive to be competitive. And it's so my hope is that it just creates some new opportunities for drivers and team owners and just, trying to make the sport better and more competitive.
Yeah, I'm excited. Definitely, I'm excited. And to wrap it up, back to this weekend. You got 3 races. I almost forget that you have a doubleheader for Cup Series. You did it at Pocono. With you running trucks as well. I mean, what do you expect for this weekend? 3 races. How is that going to work out? For the body and everything like that.
Yeah, for the body. I think just drinking a lot of Pedialyte, to be honest with you. Like I used to drink Noon and Liquid IV works pretty good too. I know a lot of guys drink Liquid IV. I don't mind Liquid IV, but for me, drinking Pedialyte is what's helped me the most as far as my hydration stuff goes. You want to make sure that you eat stuff and make sure that you got a good energy level. But I mean, I cycle a lot. I'm a big road biker. I enjoy getting on my bike. I've been riding a lot over the past couple of weeks. I mean, I pretty much haven't stopped riding for several years, but that really helps me. I mean, ever since I started riding the bike, Josh Wise got me on a bike several years ago when I was at Ganassi, and it just kind of like changed the game for me on how I felt in the race car. And then I try some different stuff, like in the cup car. A lot of guys eat snacks in the car under caution. I know people joke, "Oh, you're out there eating snacks," blah blah blah. But like under caution, you're in the car for so long. With the doubleheader, the races are a little bit shorter, so it won't be as bad. But you're exuding energy. Your heart rate is high. You're hot. You're sweating. You're losing electrolytes, and you're sweating things out of your body. So like it's natural to want to eat something. Same thing on the bike. I tried different snacks. I eat Stinger waffles in the car, which is it's just like a cracker. They're actually really good. They taste great. And on long bike rides and stuff, I'll eat them on the bike too. So you just kind of mess around with some stuff like that and figure out what works for you. The trucks this year, man, they're hot, man. The trucks are like super hot. I'm expecting that first race on Friday. That one's going to be hot. The cup cars are not quite as hot. We race for longer, but you have more air moving around in them. Like they have like a couple of hoses that are like mandated that you have to run that blow out the driver. So they're just like, there's air moving around in there. It's not so bad. Where the truck don't have that. It's like stagnant heat. And I think the Elmore engines just are hotter in general. So just like, they put off so much heat that it's just hot. So, like Kansas, we did the doubleheader with the trucks, dude. I'm telling you, those 2 truck races back to back in the middle of the day were like, oh my God, dude, it's so hot. I know there were some guys that went and got IVs afterwards and stuff like that. Like I felt fine. I was just like, dude, this is hot. Like if you had to run a cup race in that thing, you would be like falling out of the seat. It's just from just being hot. It's just like heat exhaustion. But so I think Michigan will be hot for the truck, and then the cup races back to back. They're a little bit shorter, won't be as bad, and cup cars aren't quite as hot. So I think it'll be okay. Just make sure you drink Pedialyte and get some good rest in between, and make sure you got your snacks ready to go for those races, so you can have some calories to burn. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you think the trucks it's good that the races are a little bit shorter because of the heat?
Yeah, I'll definitely say at Kansas, I was glad that they were shorter because, man, you're running right against the wall and you're working that thing, and and they're just hot. I could feel the heat coming in through the windshield, like on my legs. I'm like, golly, dude, it's just hot. But all of us have, most of us have been racing a long time, and you just kind of get used to it, right? Like, it's just not that big of a deal. I feel for some of the younger guys in the truck series because they're coming from late models and ARCA and stuff like that, where the races aren't quite as long. And the ARCA cars are I think are gotten hotter over the years. I did drive one several years back when they first got the Elmore engine, and I definitely thought the Elmore engine made the cars hotter. So I think that they're not quite used to it yet. Like, I've been running longer races and in hot cars for the last like 7-8 years. So it's just something you kind of get a little bit more used to. A lot of guys I like to sit in the sauna or sit in like a hot bath and just like sit in it. Gets you a little bit more used to it, and you just like sweat your ass off like the whole time, just trying to get used to what it's going to be like in the race car. I know there's some other guys that sit in the sauna and do stuff. I think you just saw recently, Denny Hamlin posted something of him sitting in the sauna, and I think he said like, maybe I'm immune to it. And then like an hour later, he was like, never mind. He's
Yeah,
like,
I think I saw that. Yeah, honestly.
So a lot of guys do that in preparation. So I encourage young guys, go like get a Gold's Gym membership and sit in the sauna or something, or sit in a really hot bath for as long as you can and sweat it out. But nothing works best for me than riding my bike in the middle of the summer in the daytime when it's like 90 something degrees outside and just go ride for a couple hours. I think that's like the best thing you can do for feeling good in a race car.
Yeah, people, casual fans, they won't think racers are super athletes, but you guys got to go through a lot inside the car, heat, and you got to, stay fit during the season. That's important.
Yeah, I think, just it's so hot and your heart rate's elevated that it's like a massive cardio workout. When you get it done after a race where you've really given it everything that you've got, you can kind of feel it a little bit, like in your chest, cardio. It's like, ooh, I worked today. You know what I mean? Like, you just do. And I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of people because it's like, yeah, well, you're not physically running, or you're not like physically riding a bike or like doing something, but like your adrenaline is high and you're like wrestling the car and you're driving it hard and you're using that energy through your body to like make the car go faster, to get everything out of the car that you can. And it's hard to explain until you do it. But like, I think if I wish more fans could experience what it's like to actually drive one of these cars at 200 miles an hour and you're side by side with one another, and then the thing jumps out sideways out of nowhere because someone took air off of you or something like that. It's just not only it's exciting and thrilling for us, we enjoy doing it. It's what we love to do. It's fun, but I think that it would create a little bit more of respect for every single one of the drivers and what they're doing, because you just can't explain it. Like, I can't explain it. Like, you can race on iRacing as all you want. You can do whatever. You can drive your street car down the road or go to a road course, and it's just not the same. It's just not what it's like. So it's hard to explain to the fans and other people like how crazy it is and what it actually feels like. And when someone takes air off of you, or you're 3 wide at Talladega and you're in the middle and the car in front of you is moving back and forth and you don't know what's going to happen, and trying to position yourself and make those decisions on where you need to be. There's a lot going on. And, and as a race car driver, a lot of it is instinctual, things that you've learned when you were younger throughout your career, building up to this point. And when something happens, you just know what you need to do in that moment and where to put the car and where you have to be and those kinds of things. And a lot of instincts take over. So I don't know. I just wish that the fans could experience that, because not only is it freaking cool, but I think it also would just like help them better understand too. Like, when they're watching a race and you see something happen, you see somebody do something, like understanding why they did what they did because of what happened with the air, or because of what someone did in front of them, or what they're trying to do, set themselves up for something later on. Like, all those things as another driver watching the race, you can tell what someone else is doing because we've experienced it. So it would be cool if they could experience all of that we do.
Yeah, in Michigan and trucks this weekend, that imagine they haven't changed anything, but it's always been a huge drafting game. I mean, it's basically just big pack racing almost.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Michigan's lost some grip over the last couple of years. So they put the PJ1 down in that like higher lane, which I think will come into play. I think a little bit more so now you've started to need a little bit more downforce for later in the runs. Like, yes, to be fast, we're wide open, so you can trim the truck out, take as much downforce out as you can, get back, and get the spoiler down as low as possible, and go turn a lap. But when you start racing and you're around other trucks and you have less air and tires start getting hot and the track's losing some grip, I think you're starting to see that you're going to need some downforce a little bit more than you have in years past. So it'll be interesting to see how it's aged over the winter compared to last year. I think you'll need, I think you'll need a good balance between having good straight line speed, but also just having the downforce in the corner when you're behind somebody to be able to stay gripped to the track, to be able to stay with them and maybe make a move. But yeah, it's tough to pass because it's just a lot of drafting. You definitely don't want to get pinned on the bottom. You're going to want to be in the top lane, carry that momentum, or if you can, maybe depending on how that PJ1 runs in, sneak to the outside of somebody and pin them to the bottom. I think restarts top lane will be the preferred groove because you just can build up a little bit more momentum and pin the inside truck down and you'll go. It'll be the same in the cup car, I think, as well too. So we'll just have to see how it plays out and see how much grip the track's lost over the wintertime. But I think it's starting to head a little bit more in that direction where you're going to need more grip and you can move around on the track a little bit more than you have in years past. I mean, it's similar like Kansas, right? Like Kansas has drastically changed the last couple of years from it was repaved. So Michigan's starting to head that way. I've noticed this year at Kentucky started to lose grip as well. So I think that's why there was guys just blatantly driving in the PJ1 the whole time because I don't think we truly knew how much grip the track had lost over the wintertime. And it was drastically different between the normal surface and the PJ1. So these tracks are slowly starting to wear out, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's going to create better racing. So we'll see when we get down there what we got to work with.
So the goal is to go out there and win final truck race of the season?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've shown over the last 4 or 5 weeks that we've had good speed in our trucks. It's going to be tough to beat some of those guys. Just like anything, we're going to need some things to go our way. We're going to have to be in the right position at the end of the race to make something happen. But I think we are capable of doing it. So we'll just have to see when we get there. Hopefully, you don't have practice. You don't have anything to go off of. Hopefully my guys get the splitter height, get everything right, and we have a good balance to start the race. And if not, we'll just keep working on it and try to put ourselves in a position at the end of the race to make something happen and get a good finish. But we're definitely going there, trying to give it everything that we've got and try to win the race in my final opportunity this year in the Truck Series.
Awesome. Well, best of luck to you. Thank you so much for coming on here with me. I've appreciated talking to you. It's been fun. And
yeah, man.
Yeah, have some good days that you'll be traveling tomorrow there, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think either tomorrow. No, probably tomorrow night or Friday morning, depending on what the schedule looks like. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm anxious to get up there. It's only a couple of days away, man. These weeks go by quick when you're racing three times a week, man. It's like boom, 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 and you're gone. You're in the next town, the next city. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting down there and seeing what we can do. So thanks for having me on. Like you said, it was fun. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Best of luck this week, and hope to see the 30 truck in victory lane.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
All right, have a good day.
Yeah, you too. See you, man.